Hi everybody, it's Maureen Wong from mycasestudies.blogspot.com. Today I have a book review of this book called Watercolor with Me in the Forest by Dana Fox. And I want to just preface this by saying I'm not a watercolor artist per se. I am not a super beginner, but I have so much to learn. Like, I'm pretty much a beginner, but not like an absolute beginner. The thing about me saying that I'm not a watercolor artist is that for me, I guess part of the being of a watercolor artist is drawing your own drawings and then watercoloring them in. And for me, I'm not necessarily up to that challenge because my drawing skills aren't the best. But what I do want to learn is watercolor techniques for coloring in stamped images. Because the images of the stamps are so pretty already, I don't need to draw them. I just want to know how to nicely watercolor them in. So that's what my watercolor journey kind of is. And so lately I've been especially interested in it, in learning better watercolor techniques and how to make things look better. And so I've been looking at watercolor books and videos and classes and things. And I came across this artist. Someone recommended her in a watercoloring group that I'm in. And I found this book on Amazon, and I'll have the link down below. My affiliate link, and I think this is just the most brilliant watercoloring book. I've gotten a few, and this is by far my absolute favorite one so far. And she's going to be coming out with another one, an ocean-based one, I believe in November of 2019 or something later this year. And I can already tell you I'm guaranteed going to order it. In fact, I'm probably going to pre-order it. But anyway, so let me just talk a little bit about the uniqueness of this book is that every single page in this book, except for this front page, and then there's a back page like this, every single page is made out of watercolor paper. So you can, that's nice and thick. It's a nice quality watercolor paper, and the point is that she gives you lessons. So let me start off, let me get better in frame. So she starts off, here's the table of contents, and you can see there are 4 general sections: wet on dry, wet on wet, painting fur, and ink and wash. And of course painting fur is really specific, but that's because this is in the forest, so she goes through a bunch of different forest creatures that have fur. And then so what it is she gives you a little lesson on this side, and then some samples of what she's talking about, and then she gives you space to do your own, and you do it right in the book. So that's why all the pages are watercolor paper, because from this point on, basically every page has, or every other page, you know what I mean, this side doesn't, but every other page has a place for you to do the practice that she talks about in the lesson. And then you can make it your own. Like I did this, if you can see that. This is a stamp from the My Sweet Society box for April, I believe. It's all about color theory and has these great little stamps for color swatching and things. So I actually picked a color that I wanted to use, and I made note of it here with a little sample that I used Jadeite Genuine for my coloring. Just in case I want to know later on, I come back and I say, oh, that was really nice. What color was that? Well, now I'll know. And so this is the first section, the wet on dry, and she describes the technique and how you do it basically, and then tells you go ahead and do it on this side, and there's a couple different exercises for you to do. And then this is basically what the book is all about. Is, well, you can't see it here, let me show you the next page. Basically the whole book is laid out like this, where there's a lesson on this side about a specific piece of art, which she actually gives a pencil drawing for on the left side. and then tells you in the instructions how to go about coloring it, gives you recommended colors, or you know, what color she used on her sample here, so that you can replicate it if you want, or you can pick colors that are similar, or you can pick something totally different. That's up to you. There is a lot of creativity involved in this. It's not just like a paint by number kind of thing. You still have to do the work. It's not easy. It's not just a like I said, like, it's not a paint by number. So anyway, this was the very first lesson, was Acorns, and there was a pencil drawing on this side, and I actually went through it already, and this is pretty much my finished work. It didn't come out exactly like the sample, which, you know, of course, I didn't expect it to. This is a professional artist rendering, and this is me. Not super beginner, but still beginner. And again, I didn't have these exact colors, so I took that same stamp from the Sweet Art Society box and put the 3 colors that I used over here up in the corner. And then I was really intrigued by these little leafy images she has. This is actually part of the printing of the book. And I thought, oh, that's a really cute little leaf. And I said, I want to try that. So I actually just went ahead and tried my own with those same 3 colors that we're using for the acorns. So I would do a layer, and then while I was waiting for that to dry, I was playing around with my book, making these little leaf motifs, trying to copy her little leaf motif here. And then I did a little flower thing kind of based on this flower here. And then I did this leaf sort of based on that leaf there, and just playing around. And that's the great thing about the book having watercolor paper in it, is I can play right in the book on every single page. And then I was also playing on this side because there was so much blank space on this page. I said, why not play on this side too? And I added in my own little ground after I was done, and it's not perfect, but I'm sort of learning to be a little bit looser and not so worried about perfection. Of course, there's no such thing. So I'm learning, basically, and this book is helping to teach me. So you can see that you can play around in all this white space if you want to, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So anyway, like I said, the next page is this one, and they all have that pencil drawing on the side for you to practice on. So you don't have to be able to draw. That is another great thing about this book, is they don't just give you a ladybug and say, hey, over here, have at it. Draw your own ladybug and then paint it in. They actually give you the drawing, because you may not be so good at drawing, which I'm not. So I think that's just brilliant. I love this format. And then some clovers and flowers. And another neat thing about the drawing is, if you can see right here, that leaf is not quite done. And part of that is because you might want to have highlights there and leave it more white. And if she drew in the pencil drawing, you would be able to see the pencil lines. So if you want, it's enough of a guideline drawn in that you know where the leaf is. But if you want to leave parts of it white right there, you can do so and you wouldn't see the pencil lines. So she does that numerous times throughout the book, where it's something that you really don't need the full pencil lines for, so she doesn't put them in. For example, like this tree, all the leaves are just brush strokes, and so she doesn't put in lines for those leaves because you'd be able to see them. So I think that's a really great method also for helping teach. So let me just quickly go through the rest of this wet on dry section, and then we get to the wet on wet section. Same thing. Here's the instructions, here's her samples of what she's telling you to do, and then this is your turn to do it down here. And I haven't gone through the rest of the book because I want to take it in order, because I think that's going to be important for me building up my skills. So then same thing, there's a whole bunch of pencil drawings on the left hand side for you to try your wet on wet techniques, and full instructions on this side, and colors that she used, and her finished sample of course is very important, so you can refer back to it. So here's another one where I was talking about that some parts of it are being left blank because you don't want to see the pencil lines. So that's really great. And then a trout, that's so funny. And then we get to the painting first section, again explaining it. Here's her examples, you do it now, and then a whole bunch of things you can paint that have fur. And then the last section is ink and wash, where it's basically you're inking up a picture and then doing a really loose painting style in it. And so for this part, she's still giving you the pencil lines because you still might not be able to draw. That's not what this book is about. It's not teaching you how to draw. It's teaching you how to watercolor. So even though you're going to be taking a pen and inking up a picture, that doesn't mean she's just going to leave you hanging and have a blank page over here. She still includes the pencil drawing, and you go over it with your pen, and then you color it however you want to color it. Or, you know, you can go according to her instructions, of course. Because if you're like me, you really need the instruction, then it's great to have it and have her finished example also. So there's a whole bunch of these, and I just think this book is awesome, seriously. And then it's really nice, she has some extra motifs back here on like her dedication page, and then this is just a page about learn more about her. This is her website, and I would actually love to go in and try and copy some of these motifs, and I can because this is still watercolor paper back here, and even this index is watercolor paper. And then, like I said, this very last sheet is the only one with the first sheet that aren't watercolor paper, and of course the covers. So I really, really highly recommend this book. I'm not affiliated. I didn't get it for free. I totally bought it myself. But I'm really, really loving this book. I love the way it's formatted and all of the ideas behind it, and the watercolor paper and everything is just great. I am going to go on Amazon and leave a 5-star review for this and pre-order the next book in the series. And if you're interested in it, I'd love for you to click my affiliate link down below. So if you end up buying it, I get a little bit of extra cash, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So I hope you enjoyed this review of The Watercolor with Me in the Forest by Dana Fox. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If not, I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching.